On to chapter 2 of the year 1 core course, which is all about quadratics. Now, quadratic equations should be very familiar with from GCSE. The quadratic equation is of the form ax plus by plus c equals 0, where a, b and c are real constants, and a cannot be equal to 0, because if a is equal to 0 then you don't have this lead term of x squared. Now they can have 1, 2 or no solutions. The way you determine the number of solutions is found from the discriminant, which we'll come on to later. The solutions are also sometimes referred to as the roots of the quadratic equation. It tells you where the graph of the quadratic will cross the x-axis. Okay, so let's look at example 1. We have in A, x squared, take 2x, take 15 equals 0. Now our go-to method in order to solve a quadratic is to first try to factorise it. So we'll do that first. So we're trying to think, it's going to go into two brackets, which are both going to start with x. And we need to think of two numbers that are going to multiply to give us minus 15, and those same two numbers have to add together to give us minus 2. So that's going to be minus 5 plus 3. So now we have two things that are being multiplied together and the answer is 0. Now that's only possible if one or both of them are equal to 0. So if this is 0 or this is 0, or both of them are 0, and each of them equal to 0 is a solution. So if this bracket equals 0, or this bracket equals 0, giving us x equals 5 as one solution, x equals minus 3 as another solution. Really this line of work is unnecessary. You can go straight to the solution by looking at the bracket. So wherever makes the bracket equal to 0, so 5 and minus 3. With simple brackets like this where you've got 1x and 1x, it's simply going to be the same number here with the sign changed. Okay, on to B. We have x squared equals 9x. Now, if questions like this, avoid starting off by dividing both sides by x, giving you just one solution of x equals 9, because there are two solutions to this. Instead, make one side equal to 0. So we're going to move this 9x across and make it x squared minus 9x equals 0, and then factorise. We're only going to need one bracket, but it's going to be x brackets x take away 9 equals 0. Now either of these must be equal to 0. So we've got x equals 0 and x equals 9 as the two solutions. C, 6x squared plus 13x take away 5 equals 0. So this is quite a difficult quadratic to factorise. So you may be tempted where a isn't equal to 1 to use the quadratic formula. But we'll go for the quadratic formula. To do that, we first multiply these two together, which is minus 30. And then we need to think of two numbers that multiply together to give us minus 30. And those same two numbers must add together to give us plus 13. So it's going to be 15 and 2. So it's going to be 15 and minus 2. And then you split up the middle term. So we're at 6x squared plus 15x minus 2x minus 5 is 0. So you swap the middle term for two separate pieces. That then goes into the box, quadratic top left, number bottom right, and the 2x terms, top right and bottom left. And then we say what must times together to give us that box, to fill in the box. Now it can't be 6x and x, because 6x doesn't fit into 15x and 6x doesn't fit into 2x, so it must be 3x and 2x. 3x doesn't fit into 2x, so 3x must go here, 2x must go here. And then 2x times negative 1 is minus 2x, 3x times 5 is 15x, and then just check, minus 1 times 5 is minus 5. So this factorises as 3x take 1, 2x plus 5. So we've got 3x take 1 equals 0, 2x plus 5 equals 0, 3x equals 1, 2x equals negative 5, x equals a third, x equals minus 5 over 2 as the two solutions. Again, what you can do, you can skip all this work in and go, x must be 1, divide by 3. X must be minus 5, divide by 2. Just speeds it up a little bit. And D, x squared minus 5x plus 18 equals 2 plus 3x. First thing to do here is to make one of the sides equal to 0. You want the coefficient of x squared, the number before the x squared, to be positive. So we want to move these two over because it's already positive. So bringing the 3x over is minus 3x, giving you minus 8x. Bringing the 2 over is minus 2, gives you plus 16. So we need to think of, if we go for factorising, x and x, two numbers that times together to give me positive 16 and add together to give me negative 8. And the only way that's possible is if both of them are going to be negative, because if you've got two numbers times together to make a positive number, either they're both negative or both positive. Well, if they were both positive, you couldn't possibly combine to give you minus 8. So this must be minus 4 and minus 4, because minus 4 times minus 4 is plus 16, and minus 4 is minus 8. So there's only one solution for this, and that's often called repeated root or equal roots, just x equals 4. On to example 2. Going solving to find x. 2x take 3 squared equals 25. And the tempting thing to do here is to expand the brackets, but we're not going to solve it like that, and that isn't something you should do. Instead, what we're going to do is take the square over and become square root. Really what we're saying is, what squared is 25? Well, that's 5 or minus 5. So 2x take 3. Because the thing you can make a mistake here and say square root 25 is just 5. It's 5 or minus 5. And then if we solve that by adding 3 to each of those, 2x equals 8 or minus 2. Divide by 2, x equals 4 or minus 1. That's the two solutions. D, x take away 3 squared equals 7. So again, we're going to take the square over to the other side again as a square root. But whereas that's a square number, 7 isn't. So our solution is going to contain a third. Well, it's going to be a third. So if we take the square root over, but rather than writing root 7 or minus root 7, we can save time by just putting a plus minus symbol. So that is two solutions. It's plus 7 or minus root 7. Now to finish off, all we need to do is take the minus 3 over as add 3, but don't put it on the end, because the mistake then is to do 7 plus 3 is 10, root 10, which is wrong. So if we add 3 to the other side, we write it front, like so, and that is two solutions. It's just a quicker way of writing it. So 3 plus root 7 or 3 minus root 7, but you can leave it like that. So have a go now at exercise 2a.